Hey everybody, double checking everything. Lots of little things going on today. How's everybody doing? We had a very busy day, even though we weren't doing much. I mean, we were doing plenty, but we had a live premiere for Game Night. We haven't done one of those in a little while. It's just a premiere, so it means that it will, when it's going, you have to watch it with us, right? It's a weird thing. I wasn't sure, but we were helping our friend Travis Chance, who has a game on Kickstarter that started on Tuesday. That's a really fun game, and so we were giving it some a little bit of love, and had Travis on there with us while it was going, and we had Nikki and myself and Scott, so it was pretty great. It is very strange for us to be here at home, although it's good. But what is weird is my timing is all fouled up. I don't even think it's October. And we're near the end of the month, which is pretty funny. Even though, I mean, I know it is. We've played Halloween-style games and everything, but it was great. And we had a fun time and had a really good time with Travis. I was hoping Aaron could join us, but he was busy today. But I had said he wasn't feeling well, and so the other day, and so we were supposed to film yesterday, and that didn't happen. But we're looking forward to having to filming because we have a cool game that we have been excited to feature for more than a month. And we are looking forward to it. So let's see how that goes. Maybe it'll be next week. But we are going to BGG Con in a couple weeks. And we're really looking forward to it, actually. It's almost a little under 3 weeks, I think, is really what it is. But we have, it's the... everything's kind of disrupted with us not going to Europe, but it is good. I was able to help my mom with some stuff, and still some more to do tomorrow. So these are the kinds of things that we would have had to delay. As a matter of fact, I'm thinking I wrote somebody, and I need to just check if I somehow missed the text. But yeah, it's been great. We are... Certainly, Nikki's very busy. We're both real busy, and tomorrow Nikki usually helps her parents on Friday, so that's going to be, both of us will be helping our parents tomorrow. But it's okay. I don't mind helping my mom out. She, she's getting up there. It's a challenge. I feel super, it's tough. I mean, that's why you haven't seen Dave. Dave is helping his mom. And it is taking a lot of effort, and it's challenging, right? It's not that we can't. I mean, I wouldn't want my mom to be in some sort of care facility and then me not seeing her. I know my aunt, when my grandmother passed away, when she was in an old folks home, essentially. Where was that at? Oh, I guess it was up where she was born. I don't know if she was actually born there. I think she was. I know my mom was. But anyway, my aunt had to go regularly, and she wasn't far, but she was not close. And so it was a challenge. And so when I went to visit my grandmother, I was a little nervous, that, first of all, this is what you get. I looked a lot like this. And it was in the Midwest, and so my grandmother was having, memory issues. And so I was worried that she wouldn't even recognize me. And, I was the first grandkid, so it was that you hear that that's most likely what they will recognize you. And she totally recognized me the second I walked in the door. It was amazing. So we were able to go out and have lunch. It was wonderful, but it was... heartbreaking to not be able to go more often. And, we only got to see them a couple times a year anyway, but it was still just not fun, you know. And so I know that Dave is taking care of his mom, and it's important, you know. I mean, it's not easy for him, and you know, we all have to, you know, everybody, all of us are dealing with it. I mean, we didn't see Rusty. We actually haven't seen Rusty too much lately anyway, but for a while there we didn't see him at all because he was helping with his dad. His mother passed away during the pandemic, and was really unfortunate and sad. And his father was the one that was in not great shape. So that was just another layer of unfortunateness. In Dave's case, his dad passed away a couple of years ago now, and he was not terrible, but he was, you know, one of the most terrible things growing old is all your friends passing. And I know that from, you know, all of our parents. Now, Dave's mom is a social butterfly, so she has tons of friends, and I hope they come and visit her. And, you know, she's much older than all of our parents, shockingly so, because we haven't seen her probably for 6 years, but we had seen her, and I would have never, ever guessed she's the age she is. Hey, Cirque. It is very tough to take care of someone. That's what Kuro Dutch is saying, but it's, you know, you don't want them to be alone. And it's, you know, it's heartbreaking. And I do wish Dave had a sibling. He's an only child. And my brother isn't around to really help, so it's already rough. Now, Nikki's brother is way helpful. They both have, you know, they both are at their wits' end sometimes, so it's not easy. And but thankfully they have each other, which is great to help, because her dad is really not doing great. And I honestly feel, considering how old her grandmother got, I feel like her mother is struggling a little bit just because, you know, he is an anchor in that family and isn't able to help, you know, like he did. And they're dealing with those repercussions. And that's part of what I've been dealing with, is to prepare for that stuff with my mom in advance. My mom is actually super proactive. You know, she has the memory of her parents. She did not have, her father was able to take care of her mother for a long time. But when he passed, that was when the, you know, the reality of the stuff was coming through. And so, you know, all of that's just no fun. It really is challenging. I moved my trash bin and it's in a much better spot, but my brain has it over to my right, so I'm never gonna remember. But yeah, hopefully everybody's doing well. Hopefully you're doing better than we are in that regard. But you know, I definitely, if you can, obviously it's hard to do, but keep friends. You know, the spark to in conversation and interest, you know, to discuss that stuff is really helpful. Obviously, you know, you've got your, if you're married, you have your significant other to, or with somebody, you have them to bounce off with, but you also need others. And you know, my mom was really, I mean, she's still, her friends are passing as well. But when my dad passed away, and he's been gone for a long time now, it kind of like cut off part of her social life. So it's challenging. You really got to do your best. Anyway, let's go back to some fun stuff, hopefully. Let's see here. I'm on the chat here. Nope. There we go. I did last week, or I guess it was Tuesday last week. Is it going to cut? There we go. Now it's back to me. I was working on, gosh darn it, what's her name? It's a pretty awesome figure. And I'd never heard of her. As I said, I actually, Huntress. I'm sort of more of a DC I was more of a DC person. I don't think that's necessarily true anymore. I actually like them all. But I don't read the stuff. I just have never been a big comic book guy. But and I have no idea, you know, like I don't remember, I watched the animated series, Batman animated series, but I don't remember Harley Quinn being introduced. I don't, you know, so I didn't know that she, you know, it was one of those deals where I couldn't watch it all the time. So I didn't know. I thought she was always around, right? I just thought that was one of those characters, but goodness, it was only about 30 years ago that she was introduced. And there's plenty of characters like that, you know, so I wouldn't necessarily know. But anyway, Huntress is pretty cool. I got a few little things I'd like to do. I noticed that the purple that I put on those highlights didn't really kind of go away. Or not go away, but dim down. And I might have thinned it too much. So I'll do that real quick, but I think it's pretty close. I'm actually saddened by this. She's at the peak of a roof, right? And so you have this gray here that's not exciting. So I might actually paint that black. But the bricks that I had highlighted turned out pretty good. So, you know, I just painted them and then I layered on some white, thin layers of white, and it turned out pretty good. But she's neat. I did the hair after the fact. The cape came out pretty good. I did do some, like the edges were not all fully caught when I primed it. So with these contrast paints and speed paints, I try to paint the miniature to represent the highlighting in the undercoat. So, you know, I airbrush everything. So that I did use the new airbrush compressor again. I do like it. I did leave a review on Gallery's website because of it's a great compressor. It is literally probably the best one I've ever seen for this type of purpose. And it really is phenomenal. But it's hard. I pinched myself. If you see here, I had like a little blood blister that I don't even know how I did it. This was trying to bleed the tanks when you're done. So this is one thing about all compressors that you need to know about that have tanks. You need to drain the tanks pretty regularly to keep the water from setting and rusting the tank from the inside. So I did this one, which is a brand new compressor. I don't know if it was rust or oil. There was definitely a lot of oil. And but anyway, in doing that, I mean, I took several blasts of it. It's a very strange, I mean, this is probably a common thing which I've never dealt with, because most of the compressors I've ever dealt that have tanks already have a valve to drain the tank. So I'm a little concerned. I might write them, but anyway, I just had written a review that said how much I loved the machine, but then here's the problems. And you know, one of the things that's very strange, so you know, with these types of tanks, it's not oilless. You have to keep it lubricated, so you have to put in oil. Somebody said mineral oil. I don't believe it's that. Let me look at the bottle I have. But it is a refrigerator compressor, so it does say refrigerant oil here. But I don't think that is, I mean, they're telling you to add the oil to the compressor. Well, there's oil in there. There's a lot of oil. I checked I ran it, checked the levels while it was running. Everything seems fine, but they're like, you might not need to put oil in it. I'm like, well, can you let us know? Because I don't want, you know, I've been paying attention to what folks are saying, and somebody had their C's on them, and thankfully Gallery took care of them. But like, that can't be good for them either. That's got to be expensive. You know, they sent probably another compressor and told them to keep the other one for parts, and it's like, oh gosh, which is great. You know, at least they took care of them as a customer, and they got, man, I've got to tell you, there is something, what just fell out of the lens cap. Every time I look at these bottles, it is not sealed. Like, it is sealed, it's close enough, but like, it's always leaning every time, and I press it down. I'm not a fan of these bottles. I'm very disappointed. So this is one of the newer ones that they were nice enough to send me. They sent Citadel Games Workshop sent me the second wave of colors and all the new. This is, I think it was 2022, but it does say copyright 2021 on here. I think they give me all the new shades as well, and they're great. But I really love these paints, but I just do not care for the bottles. They're not awful. I like painting out of them. I like it as a paint pot so that you can dip your brush in there and do stuff. That's actually a pretty neat feature. But it is not great when you are, you know, it doesn't seal really well, obviously. It's not terrible. I mean, I watch video YouTubers and stuff, and they're just amazing. Hey, Time Roller. You know, they're very good about closing the bottles. I mean, number one, you don't want to spill them. So I have spilled a couple pots of these sometimes. They sell this. I think they still sell this bottle holder. It will hold 3 bottles. It does a pretty good job. I still think you could spill it, but it's not terrible. I do see some paint in the channel here. Let me see if that... No, it's not very much. You don't, well, I'm not always, I rarely airbrush with this, although I have plans to airbrush one of the miniatures. Something I primed yesterday, or not yesterday, a few days ago and today. I finished it up today. But yeah, it's weird. And you know, thankfully it doesn't seem to dry so far anyway. I feel like I've only recently opened this bottle. It is just annoying because, you know, it shouldn't be a problem. I mean, they don't, I mean, I don't want to be that callous, but I feel like they don't care because it means if it dries up, you got to buy more paint, but it just seems like they wouldn't do that. You know what I mean? You know, I don't know. Who knows? Anyway, I hope everybody's doing well. Hope you're enjoying the fall. We have had some fall-like weather. It's kind of warm, although it's cooler today than it was yesterday, but it has been nice. On other patients to paint minis, hey, it's not so bad. An axolot pain Jackie, an axolotl pain Jackie. Maybe it's jockey, I don't know. These aren't so bad. So I have a technique that's kind of been really as a boon. I used to do it to just give myself reference for shading. But what I do is I paint these. This one looks pretty white. But if you look, it's not. It's dark from below. But what I do, you know, I'm doing comic characters. This guy has some bright colors on him. You know, he's Superman. So I do it brighter, but I airbrush these to give them the shading. So I start with a black, solid black. Then I spray gray at a 45-degree angle, and then I do white from above. You don't have to do the gray. You could do it, I mean, white is supposed to be directly above, but I definitely cheat on their faces. I want them to be bright. Although the paint job that Big Child Creatives did was a little darker here, which is pretty awesome. I had to respray this because I was trying to spray the white on something, and it clogged, and I did a deal where the airbrush I use is supposed to prevent you from doing this, but I did my own stupid thing, and it splattered a bunch of paint on this one and Robin, and so I had to re-coat them. So they're a little brighter, which I'm actually blown away how bright they turned out for one coat. I usually have to do multiple coats. I will say the one thing that I did this time was I used a lot more airbrush paint thinner. So maybe that does something different. Maybe because I was able to do more coats sort of kind of quickly. Anyway, but you do that. You can do this, airbrush it. You can rattle can it. Scott has, let me see if I have any over here. Scott has some that he had painted. Aren't they here? No, they're over here. I'll show you this one, but I'm kind of painting this one already. It needs some help because it got banged up. But you can see this is the one thing about rattle cans. It's a little more difficult to get it correct, you know, like the right coverage, but it doesn't really matter. But in this case, they got banged up in shipping. Scott had me take all his minis home, and so I'm working on them as well as the other minis. But let me see how Kingpin looks. Because I painted their skin probably the same day. So yeah, here's another one, right? That's Rattle Can. It's pretty good. Now you can see some of the red, but it ultimately doesn't matter. Like if you look at this normally, it looks white. And then when I did mine, do I have mine that's painted here? I guess not. Oh, I only primed it, the second one. So anyway, I've done this is my second one. I've got a third one to do. I don't even paint the white over the white on this because his jacket is white. Now it's going to be grainier. You don't have as much control, and I don't know. I think Scott bought like Rust-Oleum, stuff that people recommend, but I would say it's probably better to use rattle cans from Color Forge is a new one that's now distributed in the States by Monument Hobbies. Of course, the Games Workshop paints. I have White Scar that they sent me. These are very nice. This was actually sent when this was also new, 2022. So I would say that these came out fall 2022. Those are pretty good too, and the Army Painter ones are supposed to be good too, finally. Although those might have been fine. Their paints were not phenomenal. His skin's a little blotchy, although it's hard to do this kind of stuff. Usually I build up the color. Now that part of this is the way this paint works. It's kind of spongy on this one. So, but here's the problem with using rattle cans, even standard ones, they're expensive. Now, airbrushes are not cheap, but you can do pretty well getting something that will do the job for an inexpensive price. So I do have one of these airbrushes that has a, it's a battery rechargeable compressor. It's pretty good, especially for priming minis, right? If you're going to try to do details and stuff, you want a better compressor probably. Although you can do it, it just depends on your airbrush, because the pressure on this says like max 30, but I find it hard to believe that it even does that. But it's not terrible. So you could do that. This plus a reasonably decent airbrush cost me, let's see if it'll focus, cost me, I don't even think they have this name on it. When I go to it on Amazon, it's another brand name now. About $65, I think. That's not bad. And especially, you will easily pay for it in rattle cans very quickly. So it's probably worth it. You shouldn't be afraid. It does look textured. And that's actually one of the great things that you get, like with, so Adam, our friend Adam Smasher, at Uncle Adam on the Tabletop Minions channel, he rattle canned some Hellboy minis that had like coats, and they looked like wool coats when he did it that way. Now he did it in November, I believe, so it was colder. He lives in Wisconsin, which isn't the ideal time to do rattle can spray paints. Our friend Sebastian, when we were in Germany, did it, and I don't know what he does, but he totally has it figured out. I don't think he warmed the can or anything like that, but he spray painted. I wonder if I have anything here that he primed for me, because everything else I've done I've airbrushed since he got a compressor and an airbrush. You can also get a used airbrush. I mean, I actually bought one of my Harder and Steenbecks on eBay, and I got a good deal. As a matter of fact, right now, not a Harder and Steenbeck, somebody's selling this compressor that I got, plus an airbrush. One of the Barbados Rex he's got a channel on, Robert, I believe his name is, on YouTube that he reviews. He's into Gunpla and car kits, but he reviews airbrushes and compressors and paints. And has his own paint range, has his own airbrush range. And they've included his, what they call a swallowtail airbrush that has got it's a trigger, a a pistol grip kind of airbrush, which is cool, but I don't feel I have the need for that. It's too big. I'm not trying to cover lots of surface. I can do that with, I'm on the opposite end of the spectrum. I have too many danged airbrushes. I have not bought, I mean, there's one other, I'd like to buy the new, the latest, gosh, what is it called? The latest Harder and Steenbeck Infinity. Oh my gosh, the paint. These things are the worst. These are also bottles I'm not 100% satisfied with. Anyway, it's a very nice airbrush. I have the previous model, which I don't know when that was introduced, probably 10 years ago or something like that, I would imagine. And it's a great airbrush. They've made some improvements for their whole line, so if you get a new one, it's cool to get one of those. But anyway, that guy's selling the compressor and one of those Swallowtail airbrushes for like 400 plus 100 and something shipping. So it's not terribly cheap, but it's not bad. And he's biting some of the profit because he just, look at this, once again, it has popped up. Because he only used it a little while and he realized it was way more compressor than he needed. It has been some challenging times, Sirk. I hope everybody's doing better. Anyway, let's see. That's okay. Now it's too dark, right? I needed to do the highlights basically like I did the entire miniature where when I did the purple, it's not focusing. Let's get all these things out of the way. I thinned it with contrast medium. This is contrast medium. This is my new bottle. I have the old bottle that I'm wrapping up on very, very low. I have a mixing ball in here. So the contrast medium is what they make the paints with. It's essentially they start with this. At least that's what we're led to believe. And I feel it is. What it does is it reduces the intensity of the color by keeping the paint the same consistency essentially. And so I like to do this on skin tones and colors. I like to creep up on the color by doing multiple layers and working quickly. You don't have as bad of what they call coffee staining. There's another name for it too. And I do have some examples of coffee staining here. Let's see. This one's fine. I think that is not the right varnish on that. So yeah, there was coffee staining here. Right here. And it's not terrible, but it's not great. And I was able to cover it up with a little thinned version of the paint and just kept building it up. And it's fine. I mean, I'm not trying to get into the contest for this stuff, but I do want to paint nice stuff that looks good on the table. And, you know, I'm super happy with these DC Heroes ones. They're pretty great. You know, I airbrushed this to highlight, and I did specifically focus on airbrushing in here to give the highlights of the spotlight getting on his cape. It probably wouldn't be on here, but you know, there should be some light coming out from the edge of this spotlight. Usually that's how those work because there's a lot of ventilation there. I did not want to try to paint that. I saw somebody had done that on, I actually follow the Marvel United stuff on Reddit, and there's a lot of great people doing great stuff on there. And then I did the Joker. He is not varnished. I do need to do that. But it turned out pretty good. It's one that they did not show in the Kickstarter. So in the Kickstarter, so this Batman, this is DC here, Superheroes United, Batman Hush. This is a not part of the Kickstarter. They said that they would be doing this, and they put an update out. So it wasn't like a surprise, but they kept giving updates about this. And usually they show you all the painted minis, and they did not for that one. And it's disappointing. I don't know. You know, so here's the real terrible thing. Somebody told me on the stream last week that Big Child Creatives has gone under. Now they're trying to come back, and I think they were doing it with some other service or something, but you know, some other, I don't know. Because I went to their website and it says coming back. So let's hope that's true. I'm hoping that CMON and their issues didn't, you you know, get them closed. I don't know, it's terrible because, you know, CMON just sold Cthulhu Death May Die, another of their IPs. They seem to be selling the ones that are not any IP related. So they did the Zombicide series, everything except the Marvel Zombies and Deceased, the two Zombicide superhero games. And they may be just finishing those, right? I was in some Adam's chat on his stream a little while, this last weekend, and somebody was saying that you know, they're optimistic that that they'll come through on this. I hope so. I'm not certain that will be the case. Anyway, let's paint the black, and then we'll be mostly done with this. I will varnish it probably later. I might go in and do a little bit more highlights on the Spanish tile kind of thing here, Japanese tile. I mean, I don't know because it's blue. I've seen Japanese tile like this. I think it's just Spanish tile at night. Anyway, let's get the black that I like, which is the stuff from Marvel, Monument Hobbies, the Pro Acryl. This is the coal black. It's very good. I've had this bottle for about 5 years, and I mean, I've painted a lot of minis. This stuff goes a long way. This is 22 milliliters. The contrast paints from Citadel are 18 milliliters. I'm pretty certain these are 18 milliliters as well. This is the speed paints from Army Painter. It is 18 milliliters. There are some that are a little smaller, 17 milliliters. I don't know what the story is on, let's see what this says. This is older. This is 17 milliliters. I'm not sure if all of the, well wait, I can look here. I have the new Vallejo of this. 18 milliliters, so maybe the bottle's thinner. It certainly feels like it is, and so maybe it holds more paint. And then these are the other, yep, 18 milliliters. These are the, well, this is Game Master. This is a line of colors, of paints that they do, that's specifically to paint like your, you know, like D&D type minis. They are exactly the same. Here, I'll show you. We got these given to us at Gen Con from, although it says it's exactly the same. Now, it looks to me like these are slightly different bottles. So I feel these are clearer than these, but the paint is supposed to be exactly the same. If you notice, now, one of the great things about these is they give you a kind of a standard color name instead of these, you know, because this is demonic yellow. But if you notice, this one says angelic yellow, but if you, it tells you what it is in the standard line, and it is demonic yellow in Army Painters. So they're the same paint, which is cool. I mean, I like that there's another source that you could potentially pick up the paints from. I've seen these less than I've actually seen Army Painter, but they do sell them like on Amazon and stuff like that. And they have different sets. I'll show you Joker again, Cirque. So there's what he looks like. It turned out pretty cool. I want to paint the, you know, whatever terrible goo that he falls into. In the, I think that's what it was in the original Batman movie. It's been so long since I've seen that. I want to varnish that a little bit with a little bit more of sheen on it, and then I need to varnish it all. But he turned out cool. And I went in and did some highlights on top of, although that didn't come out so great there. It's okay. When you do the highlights, you kind of need, like edge highlights and stuff like that, you kind of need to thin it quite a bit, and I don't think I thinned that enough. That's, you know, it's always changing for me for each of the paints that I buy. They're not all the exact same consistency. Some people say that the Monument paints are too thin, And I'm like, wow. I mean, I guess they are thin, but I don't think they're that thin. But you know, again, I'm also judging that a little bit on the white, which is the one I have the most trouble with. It keeps just thickening up. And I have to do some work to keep it thin. Now, I have a new bottle. AMP Atomic Mass Games was nice enough to get Monument Hobbies to send me their new paints, the new AMP paints. I'll show those soon, but they did give me another set of like the white and the gray, the black, so it's pretty great. They didn't, what I want, I mean, I got now, they sent me a bunch of the standard and then the 2 sets of AMP paints that they have. So supposedly they're complementary. They don't replace anything. They fit in the line. So that's kind of a cool deal where, you know, because that Monument actually has a starter set. I think it's, actually they have a set with brushes, and their brushes are pretty great. And it's not terribly expensive, but it probably is $40-something. Oops. I do like Monument Hobbies paints a lot. I mean, that's, so if I'm gonna, I did buy some of the War Paints Fanatics. I don't have a real good set of colors. Now I have a pretty great set of Monument Pro Acryls. So I kind of wish I hadn't bought the Army Painter ones. Not that I'm happy to have them, but I just don't have the space. I've actually done some reorganization on the desk here. So I moved my 3D resin printer and stuff like that. So let's do the black. We've got, let me get a little bit of distilled water on my palette. Now I don't use distilled water in the wet palette itself. I just use tap, but I do have a little bit of distilled just for the paints. I don't even know that you know, some people swear by it. I don't know the difference, but I do know, I talked about this last week, that the tap water, I mean, it's a lot of evaporation to get it to where it gets deposits, but I had it to clean up a bunch of mineral deposits on the wet. I have what they call a rinse well from Masterson. That is basically it's just like a cat waterer that's got an inverted bottle on it, and you, I mean pet waterer, and you just, it'll keep the water, keep pouring water into it. And then it also, you have like a little drain button that you can drain it out and then put in fresh water. That's a little thin. So I'm talking about how I don't think their paints are that thin, but it does seem like it went on pretty thin. It is one of the things that you have to figure out. It really is to get the right level of thinning for the paints. It's a challenge on airbrush. I watched a great video from Harder Steenbeck. Warwick is doing, I mean, he's like the head of the design team, I think, but he did a video on how to tell if it's thin enough for your airbrush. I never had any knowledge of that, and it was pretty amazing. Basically, it's like you just want it to drip off of the so what he does is he loads it into, he mixes it up, and he puts the brush into the mixed paint and then suspends it, and then when it drops off without, a drop falls off without any kind of stretching, then you know it's the right level of thinning, which is pretty great. I do a lot of the mixing in the airbrush, which isn't a real great idea. I don't think I should be painting that. I should be actually painting that part blue, maybe. Doesn't have, it looks like it's chopped off, so I'm gonna paint it black. But we do have a bunch of the team in Germany right now. Today was the first day of the convention for Spiel. And so on the front page of BGG, you can see the Geek Buzz. So that's what the audience there is voting that they're excited about. It's just thumbs, there's no down thumbs. It's one of my favorite parts of the convention. We only just started it back up last year when we went to, I think we did a soft launch at Gen Con and then full-on launch at Spiel. It was not as widely contributed to as we had before, but we're not doing it the same. What we used to do is we would have the publishers on camera in a live stream, and we covered as many games as we could, but we don't do that anymore. It's a challenge. I understand, Scott. I'm sad we stopped doing it because I actually really loved it. I'm sorry I'm not on camera. But I totally understand why. It's very expensive to do, and we were not getting support from the people that run like any of the events. There's and I'm saying that a little harshly because it's not entirely true. We had great support from Can FIJ. They would provide us with some hotel rooms and internet and the space. So we would do that. We did that for like 3 or 4 years, 18, 19, 20. So we did 3 years. They had the lady that actually had been running it for a long time, who's the one that invited us. She retired, which was great. It was really neat to see that. They had during their big presentation of the Asda Or. Hey, no problem, sir. So they were great. They actually got us a car from the airport to the hotel and back, which was super helpful for Nikki and I with all the gear we had, or by myself. Nikki didn't go the last year. And then Gamma. So the people that run Origins, they are called Gamma. They're Association of Gaming Merchants, and they do 2 events at least each year. One is Origins, which is in June, and then the Gamma Trade Show, which was in Vegas till about 2018 or so, and then they moved to Reno, 1920. That sounds about right. We might have been to Reno 3 times, so it might have been 18, 19, 20. And now they've moved. They're now in Memphis or Nashville, maybe Nashville, which is cool. I would love to go to that, but they were wonderful. They would give us a couple rooms as well, and internet and the space, and it was really helpful, and it was really great. Particularly Gamma, because it's not a public event, so we had our own little junior suite that we streamed from, and people came to the room, and it was quiet. It was the quietest events we ever did. So that was pretty amazing. Oh, I'm sorry, I also skipped. So I was mentioning dry brushing, rattle can. I forgot to mention dry brushing. So this one was dry brushed, and then I put the contrast paints on here. This one is not one of my better dry brushes for this, but I have some others that are pretty great that I've hidden, so I need to get them out. But this works good. I think I painted it, and then I came back and did a little bit more dry brushing on these packs and stuff like that. The skin was where I had a problem, and I'm not 100% satisfied with that. But that's because I dry brushed it and it looked like she had a 5 o'clock shadow or a full-on beard. And so I painted over it, and I'm just not great with whites. White paint is challenging. You really shouldn't do straight white. You get a better result. You should also do it thin, and that's what I do more of now. Now, that's been a couple years ago that I painted that one. It's taking a little bit of time to dry. But they're pretty cool. Let's see here. So we're going to start on Superman. He has white eyes, at least in this picture. So he is, what do they call it? Controlled. What's going on here is I'm having such weird problems with computers lately. Well, I got a new phone, which, oh my gosh, That's a pain in the rear end. But I mean, the colors are amazing, so I won't be able to do the cape justice, but I will try to do it. You know, I'll try to do something like I did with Immortus. On Immortus, I was doing layering. You can also do it's called a dry brush, but it's slightly wetter than a standard dry brush that you can dry brush and do something similar, but I used a fluorescent paint, purple, underneath this. I painted it purple and airbrushed it, you know, to get it lighter, but it's pretty dark. Layered on the purple, fluorescent purple, and then put on another layer of the, I think it was Moonlight Coral was the color I was using from Army Painter Speed Paints. And it looks great. I really like it. It's not as bright as it could be. It looked pretty great until I knocked it down, but I wanted it knocked down. I felt it was a little too strong. But you don't have to do that. It's a comic book character. You can do as much brightness and insanity as you want. I mean, I didn't really do that. I was going to do something here on her black cape. But we'll see. It's not It's not varnished yet, so we'll see. So anyway, I'm going to try. I usually go in to out, meaning deeper to out. I don't know what others do. It is my favorite way to do this stuff because I have much more control. I mean, I'm very happy with the Huntress here. Her face turned out great. Her lips were great. You know, I feel like I'm finally getting a little bit better with the faces. I mean, you know, these faces are relatively easy. I should be doing a better job, to be honest with you. Because look, these faces compared to these faces, you know, a lot of people won't bother painting the eyes really or anything like that. And I don't blame them on miniatures like this because they're very tiny. I did do something with this guy here to give him some blood eyes, but you know, on these I don't have much of an excuse. So I do go a little bit, and it's hard. You know, I'm actually much better if I don't paint it on the stream, although I think I did this one on the stream and I did a nice job, so I was very happy. But yeah, it really is, really the face is like my favorite part of this one, so it's pretty awesome. Anyway, so the cape is red, bodysuit is blue, of course, and then the patch is red with yellow background. I wonder how that'll look. It looks very bright on here, and I love it, but I don't know that... I could go in and try to pump it up a little bit. Let's see. It probably won't matter too much, but I'll do the same thing there. I'll paint inside the yellow. Then if I have to touch up any of the white, I'll do that, just a little bit of touch up, and then do the red on top of that, and then paint the blue around it. So it should be pretty good and easy, but we'll start with the face. He's got some strong teeth there. I did an okay job on Hush. I mean, he's got some kind of like jack-o'-lantern teeth there almost. I don't think they're meant to look like that. And then I did an okay job. I was not really excited about it when I was painting it, but in the end, it actually looks pretty good for the teeth. I was trying to do what the... Actually, that one was one that was also not painted in the campaign. It breaks my heart to hear that Big Child Creators is not doing well. I really do hope they come back. These are great minis, but they have tons of amazing minis as well that are way more detailed, and they also have some great painters. Somebody was saying in the chat about it one of the last times I was streaming that you should follow the people that were from there because they're doing great work outside of that now. So for the flesh, I use Gilliman Flesh. Let's see how that bottle is sealed. See, this one's perfectly fine. This is what it's supposed to look like. And let's see what the purple looks like now that I've set. Yeah, look, it's already crooked. Like, it is super annoying. I don't know what's going on here. I wonder if there's like a kink in the hinge. It's certainly possible. But yeah, it's annoying. It still keeps it mostly dry, so it's not, moist, so it's not a real problem. Anyway, Gilliman Flesh is darker. I use it for all of the figures I've done. You know, two of my favorite ones were Shuri and Okoye, and Nick Fury, and you know, they look great, and Blade, and but it's exactly the same skin tone that I use on some of these super pale. Now Batman's turned out okay. Let's see how he looks. It's pretty good. It's a little splotchy. I think I didn't. I think I just went with, like, mixed something up and went with it. You do kind of need to check it out. But yeah, these are fun miniatures to paint. This box is available. I bought it on Amazon because I wanted to get something DC, because I'm very concerned that we're not going to get. Although I think the Cthulhu Death May Die is being fulfilled, so Asmodee picked it up, and I think Asmodee is fulfilling the expansion that. Oh shucks, I forgot to put some of the. I also put too much on. The contrast medium. I generally put the contrast medium first. It's not a problem, other than I do not want the brown to get into the contrast medium. Now I'm near the end of this, so it should be fine. But yeah, you can do lots of stuff to get to that point, and it's really not that hard. I mean, yes, I'm doing some tighter details, but you could do basic shading, you know, like with these contrast and speed paints, contrast paints, speed paints, and what's the other ones I remember? Express Color is the stuff from, I was trying to remember that the other day, from Vallejo, and they all have, Scale 75 has one, there's a bunch of them out there. AK Interactive has a new one now that's supposed to be pretty good. I recommend Tale of Painters, I think it is, or Tale of Paints, I don't remember the name. It's Stolly is the host on that, and he reviews paints. It's mostly, I think that's all I've seen him do. He might do some other stuff, but I would definitely watch the paint reviews. They're great. He's I guess a photographer probably by trade, and he white balances everything, so he has color charts that you can see where he's painted it on a little tile that's always the same tile, so you see how it settles. And I don't know if he must do standard paints on there. I know he reviews them, so I don't know if you do I don't know. Maybe that just shows you how well it covers and stuff like that. But it's pretty great, and it's definitely helpful. I would like to, I haven't actually supported him yet on Patreon, and I want to, because I want to get the color chart to just do some comparisons. He might actually have some stuff to help you find equivalent paints. I can't remember if he did one on Goblin Green. I feel like he did. Somebody did a video on Goblin Green, which was great because it's a long lost color, and none of the replacements, including Citadel Games Workshop's, comes close. It's pretty crazy. Let's see here. It looks pretty light. I mean, I almost see no color there, so that's actually pretty good. Let me use a paint holder. I have not been doing that lately, and I keep dropping them. The one thing I have not done a lot of is priming with rattle can. I mean, I've done that in the past, but large scale stuff almost every time. I mean, I've just painted on, you know what, I should have painted the inside of the eye first. But yeah, I've rattle canned vehicles, but I don't think I've rattle canned. Now, I've had an airbrush forever. My parents bought me an airbrush when I was a teenager, and so I still have that airbrush. It's a great airbrush. I don't use it as much. It's a siphon feed. Siphon feed has a little. So if you're covering a lot of area, siphon feed's great because you can put a pretty large bottle on there and go a long way before needing to refill. I actually used it in art in high school and in college. I kind of became the airbrush guy that people would have me help them do some airbrushing on their projects, which was fun. I think one year, probably my senior year of high school, we had an art show and the prizes, and I was like, I don't know that I got credit for it. I don't think I did get credit. But I had won a bunch of ribbons, essentially. I did win for my work too, but I won ribbons theoretically, for some work that I did with others, which was cool. Mostly it was people wanting to do the backgrounds. And I didn't mind that, because you know what? It's, to me, that they'll do it eventually if they stick with this stuff. And they were just learning how to do it. I don't remember bringing my airbrush to school, but I must have. But maybe my teacher had one. I don't know. Because I don't think I took that stuff home. So long ago, I don't really remember. He's already pretty close. Now, his skin is very flesh tone on this paint job. But I got to tell you, this worries me, because one of the things on the Kickstarter was a how to paint book that they were going to do. Now, they might have, I should not have touched that. I say this all the time. Let it dry, because it does like a gel state before it really dries, and you mess it up. So I probably messed it up. I don't know. Hopefully I'll be okay. We'll let it dry. But I feel if you have, now, we have lots of games, but we have also lots of minis that are unpainted. And I feel an airbrush is a pretty great investment. And painting is such a nice hobby. It's super relaxing. I honestly don't get to paint enough. But the results are amazing, and you end up getting people asking you to paint their minis, which I don't mind, especially if I'm painting like in this case, I'm painting multiple copies of the same game in the expansions, so I don't mind that at all. I haven't been doing any on these because I'm the only one that bought this Superheroes United, DC Superheroes United. But I sure hope the regular game shows up, because I sure would like it. I do enjoy it a lot. I have not played this yet. So I'm painting all these because I would like to do them on the show. I did that when we did Marvel United 3 years ago or something like that. Okay. I did see that Army Painter has new paintbrushes. Their paintbrushes using their new line is called Bionic, and they are synthetic brushes, which I guess the other ones were not, the previous ones. And I've used their brushes. They're not terrible at all. But these new ones are supposed to be amazing. Adam told us about them. He is on the factory team for them, runs some convention stuff for them, and he told us about them and said how amazing they were. Like, they blind tested them with the pro painters and Adam, who's not a pro painter, but I mean he is a pro painter because he does it for a living. But they really look exciting. They're not as cheap as the old ones were. But yeah, I'm intrigued that I didn't know that the old ones were natural hair. They're not Kolinsky sable. Oh, I don't want to get his knuckle to touch, so I'll let it sit like that. Oh boy, I'm thirsty. Whoop. Hey, and he fell right off the thing. I hope his hands are okay. I will just do this. See how that works. Yeah, it's not so bad. And you can't see it. There we go. But yeah, I'm trying to encourage folks to paint because it's pretty. It is pretty great. It's a great hobby. Where am I on the? There we go. Okay. So I want to paint some teeth and eyes. So I will use. I'll do white, but I will also use a little gray. So this is a bright neutral gray. It's a little warm for my taste. It's not terrible. But when I do white and black together on these minis, this comes out a little warmer. Now, Lord knows, maybe it's because I'm doing it after painting the skin tone. I hope not, but it's definitely possible. So this is one of their twist top eyedropper bottles. The standard ones are these. Let me get the white one. These are okay, as I showed it earlier, and I twisted the top off and it just shot all, it just keeps coming out. I guess maybe it's too thin, I don't know. Now I thinned this down to try to keep this bottle of paint flowing, and it's doing way better. I put some thinner in there and a little bit of distilled water. I'm absolutely putting too much paint on the palette here. But yeah, these they leave paint. The biggest frustration, I don't like wasting paint, but I also don't like the paint drying. I use these colors in the airbrush, and they can just get little chunks of paint in there, of dry paint, and that can mess up your airbrush. I did not put distilled water down. Although I may not need it. The white is pretty thin. I might have thinned it too much. But it is near the end. And I guess it's about close to airbrush consistency, maybe. I could, not really. That's too thick for that. But, but it is thin. But it was so thick. Just kept thickening up. And I'm like, you know what? I don't care. I will do this. As a matter of fact, I don't want to use this brush. I am going to use one of the Monument Hobbies. They've changed their brushes, I believe. But this was the Bomb Wick Igniters. These are Kolinsky Sables. These are pretty nice brushes. I like to use these types of brushes. These and the Winsor Newton for details. And I do recommend having both types of brushes. I think synthetics are great for speed paints and contrast paints because you tend to work pretty quickly, and when you're doing that, you're poking the brush in there a lot. So, wish this was not so bright on here. Does he have he does have the eyeliner thing going on here. The guy liner, so I'm going to do a little black first. I should have done that and let it dry. So the way you do that is you paint with black paint and try to go a tiny bit outside of the the eye hole that they have here, which sometimes I feel they're too deep, but whatever. It kind of makes it easier to paint it. And then I'll go back in with a little bit of white once this dries. Should dry pretty quickly. We did go see the new Tron last week. It was okay. I mean, I like those movies, but they were never that great. The first one is definitely my favorite of the three. But the new one was pretty good. And I'm not a huge fan of Jared Leto, but I thought he did a great job. And it looked cool. I don't know the movies that director has done. I know that he did a Pirates of the Caribbean, I think, which would have had to have been a later one because Gore Verbinski did them, the first ones. I'm not a huge fan of those either. He does have some beefy eyebrows, so I guess I don't feel too... It does look like it's brown. I might have to put a little bit of brown over it. Although he has dark hair, so I don't know. I did like the Nine Inch Nails score. I really love the, well, I love the Wendy Carlos one, the first one, but I also really love the Daft Punk one. But they're all, it's cool. They're all different, which is great. There was definitely there was a full-on callback to the original score, which was neat. But man, I do like the score, and it looked nice. It was a good-looking movie. I don't know. It looks like they don't have any gaps in his teeth on the top, which is interesting. Clearly you can't see this very well. It's too bright. Darn it. Too wet, probably. I'm excited to see what games. There are some games I'm excited about. I actually, since we're not there, I asked Brian, our friend Brian, to pick up a few things. Actually, I asked him to pick up one thing. We're going to get the new Freedom and Freeze games from 2F Spiele. He does have some games from some other publishers. He's actually doing one with Skellig that Queen Games is doing in the United States called Five Families, which I do want that one. But I don't know. I didn't back it. I thought about it. I probably should have. But I also asked for one that we did recently, the Minecart Town. And it's a rare, not a lot of backers, $38,000 worth of support maybe, or something like that. Now you could make your own. I think I mentioned it in the, I wanted to do it, make one to show it in the video, but I did not have time. It's looking like he's got vampire teeth. Ugh. Does look like he's got large teeth down below, so I don't know. I probably do these too small. Oy. It is too thin. So what I'm doing is wetting my brush and pulling it back out. Now this is very wet. So yeah, I probably should have used a newer white paint that I have that's thicker. As a matter of fact, I think I did the last time. Ugh, it's too wet. Let me see if I can clean this up. I did a terrible, terrible job. So the upper one is dry, so it's probably okay. Doesn't look great though. I was disappointed they moved away from the direct Tron link. Yes. And so much time was spent in the real world. So much time, I see, yeah. I mean, I do appreciate that they ended up shooting it in the same city, because it, you know, although it's 15 years later, so you know it looks, the skyline's probably different, but it's not great. I mean, it's fine. I will buy the disc when it comes out. What I may do here is just paint the teeth white and come back in and do the gray. I did not do that on the Joker, and I'm very happy with the Joker's teeth, and I'm happy with Hush's teeth. But I didn't hate it. I'm glad we saw it. Scott liked it. Brian liked it. And it's fine. I mean, you spend a lot of time in the... I mean, they were going to come out in the previous... I guess the same... One of the same script writers worked on both of the... Might have worked on the original one, I mean the Legacy, but might have worked on... but definitely worked on the direct sequel that they started working on right away. I will say that's the problem. They waited too long. They've waited too long every time. Now, clearly, the first movie was its fame grew over the years, like Blade Runner. But you still shouldn't wait so long for when actually the most successful one was the second one. They should have put that out, like worked on it quickly. Because I just think that, you know, it doesn't necessarily appeal to younger people. And if you had more of them, now, you know, there's the series, there's Tron Uprising, I think, which was pretty good. We watched that, I think, on XD, because it wasn't on Disney Plus. Didn't exist. It's on Disney Plus. We might have even watched it again when it came out. It wasn't great, and it clearly needed more stories. This is way too thin. I do wish I had the other one out. I will use this one. I actually should use the other one of these bottles that I have. For sure. I'm just happy that I will be buying the Nine Inch Nails record. I buy all their records. I may not have all of them, but I sure have a lot of them because I've been into them since the very beginning. I actually, when I was in the late 90s, or late 80s, I worked in a record store. And I bought the singles for that record store. And I bought, singles and 45s and some other stuff occasionally I would recommend. And I saw an ad for that record coming. And what was cool, I of course didn't know Trent Reznor. The very first record, Pretty Hate Machine, is that right? But I saw the producers he was working with. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is going to be great. You know what? The palette is just wet. I think this paint is actually, the previous paint was okay, and maybe this one's too thin too. I don't know. I think I've only ever seen him maybe twice. I know the first time I went was at a place here in LA. I don't think it's still around, called Helter Skelter, which is where Nikki used to go. She was going to go see that concert, but she did not go. No, I don't think we would have met. But that's a big what if kind of a situation there. But anyway, and I think I went with my friend Quentin. And we were very excited. Now, I'm pretty sure I went with Quentin because Quentin, I think, maybe knew him. So they're both from Ohio. Or he knew of him, like maybe in the scene. And so we went to see the show, and it was pretty great. But it was the funny thing. I always tell this story, but we were waiting for the show to get started, and we were there early. And it was a club, and the guy, the roadie, was out there decorating his set with videotape. He was like draping it all over the place. And then the show starts, and Reznor comes out and just tears all that stuff down in like a second. It took way longer to put it up. I thought that was just so funny. But it was a great show. Made a fan out of me, for sure. Just leave him with gray hair. Okay, we're going to do a little bit of a gray for the gaps in the teeth. That might be too light or too dark. This is terrible. That's why I wanted it to be the other way. Because I just think this paint is too thin. So I'm going to go back. This is terrible. Terrible. I did such a nice job on the Joker. I'll let that dry. This paint is too wet. I think the wet palette is too wet, which is very weird. It's not. Maybe it is right here. It is kind of worn out there, so that may be the palette. The paper is too thin and it's pulling too much moisture too quickly. That may be the case. I don't have I talk about Sebastian and his single hair paintbrush. It's not that, it is pretty thin though. I don't have one like that, I should. Not great. He's got very big lower teeth. Wow, it's just terrible. It's not so bad. He does have big teeth. It's not appropriate. Although they do look like that on the other one. But they've reduced the intensity of them by the lines not being complete. It's okay. Not great, man. He's angry. He is controlled. Oh, I'm putting it on the... That's okay. I got some on his lip. Woof. Not happy. Really looks like he has 4 teeth on that bottom one. They do a much better job. One of the things they're doing though, which I'm not doing here, and I do need to do, is a little bit of gray at the bottom. Might not be gray enough. Let's paint some skin tone when that dries up. It is a downer that it didn't do better, Tron Aries, but I mean, if people aren't going to go see it, there's just no need to make them. And it's too bad too, because they know it is their own thing, and sure are. This is really beautiful. Like, really, really good looking. Those are little beady eyes. They're pretty small on this though too, so. Oh, that's black. Don't put that on there. Excuse me. Yeah, it's okay. Those lower teeth, they should be smaller teeth. I think it's just, and I'm putting too much emphasis on them, and I think they should be like subdued a little bit here. Ugh. Giving a fang again. I will go back and do a little bit of the line in between the teeth. I'm really not happy with the upper teeth. It's probably too cakey. I'm sorry, it's out of focus. It's probably too cakey already. That's one of the problems with the white. You have to be very cautious not to keep working on it. You end up, I'm doing exactly that. It might be better there. I'm putting on a thin amount of white, although it's kind of poking through. Looks like Kirk Douglas. Legacy teaser felt fantastic back when it was really felt like a special event. I did see that one in 3D. We did not see this one. I'm actually shocked that we went to see that in 3D. At least I think I remember it. I'm pretty sure it was in 3D. Now that was a conversion, so it's not as great. I would have liked to have seen this one in 3D. We did see it in IMAX, and were showing it at that theater, but not the performance we went to. We went with our friend Daryl and his daughter, and they had an extra 2 tickets because his wife and their son couldn't go, and we were fine. I don't need to see it in 3D. Now, I want to probably see it in 3D, and that's expensive, I'll tell you. Nowadays, you can't buy the discs. You can only buy them in Japan. And I did order the Thunderbolts on eBay from a Japanese seller, which they did a great job and got it to me quickly. But it's frustrating. Like, I get it. Nobody really cares about them in the United States. We have a 3D TV and a 3D projector. But, like, import them for us. Disney should. There must be something about that they just can't do it. Which is very, very sad, because I love the 3D stuff. I keep buying those. So I have most of the Marvel movies in 3D that came out in 3D. Not all of them did. I think I have them all except for Captain America and the Brave New World, or the New World, or whatever it is. We didn't even see that one yet. It's on Disney Plus. We could watch it. We probably will. But what if I've opened this bottle yet? It looks like I have. Oh yeah, I've definitely opened it. You can see there. So eager to paint that yellow. Probably will regret it. Let's hope not. But yeah, for a while there, after they stopped selling them in the United States, they sold them in the UK. And they still sell existing titles, but they don't add any new titles to the UK. And the US occasionally still does some. They did one for Dune. But I don't think Dune Part 2 actually was even done in 3D. Which is unfortunate, but I get it. It does have the IMAX cut? Huh. I have that one. I bought that disc. So I bought that actually before I had a 3D TV. Excuse me. I crazily enough bought 3D Blu-rays before the TV. And I really wasn't that crazy about, well, that's not true. I had seen Tangled and Monsters vs. Aliens in 3D, and those blew me away. We did go see Avatar because, you know, it was shot in 3D, but it was not great, and it turned out we saw it at a theater that just didn't have a bright enough, I cannot remember if it was digital or not. It probably was, because when we saw it on the disc, when it came out, it was way better looking than we're like, oh, we can see those things at night. And so it was cool. And we were a little bit better. And then really what made me I also, how did I get all that yellow everywhere? Is it off the brush? I was thinking that like you needed to really cheat the 3D like animation can do, and they can do that depending on what the scenes are in standard shot stuff. But I was kind of of the mind that, you know, it had to be shot in 3D to be any good. And then I saw with Rusty, he had me come to had a spare ticket, and I went to go see The Force Awakens at the Chinese theater here in LA, and they had last year they had upgraded the whole theater to do IMAX and to do dual projector 3D, and you know, I think maybe even standard film, I don't know, but it probably is for just the 3D. You needed two projectors to give it the brightness for each eye, because you're using passive lenses. And it was amazing, and I'm like, okay, I get it now. I was just being a snob, but that was my conversion. Then I was basically looking for a TV. At that point, I had no idea that it was. I have a tendency to jump on the bandwagon for those formats that are dying. I bought back in the day an HD DVD player, which was the competing format for Blu-ray, and they were doing something in that system that I really liked. Well, I don't remember how long it lasted, but I bought it just before it failed. I think it maybe I had it for a couple months. I bought it from Amazon, and at CES that year, Toshiba announced they were giving up because none of the other manufacturers were really doing HDDV, if any. And I got a very nice HD DVD player, but Amazon was really nice, and they gave me credit for a new player, and I don't know if it was them, might not have been, but somebody offered discs, and then they did this whole conversion, red to blue or whatever it was, where you could, it was Warner Brothers and some other related studios, I think, and they would offer you, for inexpensive, you sent the disc back, maybe? Something. And then they would, for a small fee like $5, they would get you the disc. And they'd send you the new one in Blu-ray. So I still have some HD DVD releases, but I don't. And I have the player still, but I don't have it hooked up. But that was actually, Amazon really, they've done a couple things like that over the years where I'm just, as terrible as they can be now, they were pretty loyal to their users back then. And it certainly got me to be more on board with them. I'm not happy with them right now. We ordered something last week, maybe Thursday. And it was supposedly out for delivery on Friday, and just, they're like, oh, we're sorry, it's not coming. I'm like, what? So I haven't figured out what to do yet on that one. And their stuff is just slow. We're in Los Angeles, and I get it. There's probably not a lot of distribution centers right near us. I think there's one a little bit north of us, and then one in a considerable northwest of us. Not that far, but not that close either. And so sometimes they get it, but we never get stuff. I mean, sometimes it's very bizarre. Like, they'll give me next day delivery in the morning. Like, I'm like, you don't need to come early. And I'm like, why are they doing that? So are those aspect ratio changes during the movie? Because, I mean, they do that all the time. They were actually doing it in Tron. They were cutting in the IMAX. They were changing the aspect ratio. I don't feel it's as noticeable in the theater, but I definitely notice it on TVs. I think Disney Plus has, I know they have some stuff in IMAX format. It's not really. It's just a different aspect ratio. And some of them might change on those, and they're okay. I did order I'm sure they'll come out in the United States, but I ended up ordering, they did have a disc, like a steel case of Tron and Tron Legacy 4K, and I bought those. I have not played mine yet. Yeah, aspect ratio is 3 inches. You're out, yeah. I don't understand that. But I think they're just trying to increase the scale scope kind of thing there. But I don't know. Like from intimate or to large, or I don't know, battles, I mean, I've seen it enough. We kind of go to see IMAX if we're going to see a movie. We did not see like the Indiana Jones movie, I think, in IMAX, or maybe we did, I don't know, which was a disappointment. We didn't go see that right away, and it's not horrible, but it's not great either, which is unfortunate. Egads. Probably should do his hair. Black Templar is still down here, shouldn't be. I think I should be wrapping it up here soon. I sometimes go till 8 or later, depends on what's going on, but I have things I have to do. And I'm kind of nervous. I have to look and see. As a matter of fact, I should take a peek because I'm waiting on something from somebody else. And I'm nervous about it because I don't think we're going to get it. And I'll have to do the work and figure it out, which is unfortunate. But that's how it is. Okay. Where are we at on this? I'm still not out of this paint. I've got a good... That's how long these paints last. What am I doing here? I'm doing black, so it's not a ton of black. I'll just do a little bit here. just stuff falling all over the place. So I moved a bunch of stuff around, so that's really what's happening. Seriously, are you still, Cirque, are you still there? Did you go, when you went to Vegas, where did you stay? I'm not, kind of, in my head, I'm kind of thinking about it. I don't really love Vegas. I love things about Vegas, but I'm not a gambler and I don't drink, so. But I kind of want to go to see some stuff there. I definitely want to go to the Pinball Museum again because it's new location since the last time we went. I've heard it's still really expensive and there's not a lot of people going. I mean, there are people going, but there's a drop. And it has really gotten expensive. I heard the resort fees are now like $50 a day, which is just ridiculous. Considering we don't, well, that's not entirely true, but we generally don't use the resort stuff. Since you're throwing all kinds of money at the casino, I don't know. I don't gamble, but Nikki likes to, and Scott and Michelle. Michelle didn't gamble either. Her and I were the managers. But I want to go. I want to go see something at the Sphere, which I know is expensive as well. I mean, I don't know how great No Doubt would be, but that'd be a band I'd like to see. Not in focus at all here today. I'm trying to paint the small stuff, which I don't. To be honest with you, it's kind of good to get the stuff that I find more challenging out of the way up front. Park, I'm not a drinker and a gambler either, but was more open to all the other big. Another thing I want to do is, what is it called? Meow Wolf. The Sphere, awesome. You stayed at the MGM Grand and the previously at Vidara. We stayed at Vidara once. What's Park MGM? Oh, I see. Park MGM's the theater. I don't know. I mean, the hotel. I don't know that one. I don't know if we've seen We've seen a bunch of the Cirque du Soleil stuff. I'm just sad that the Beatles Love isn't playing anymore. I mean, we've seen it several times, so it's not like I had to, but I like that one. It's one that we kind of like. One time my mom came with us when we went. It was like all the parents came. That's not true. Scott's parents didn't come. But Michelle's did. It was fun. We had a good time. And so we took my mom to see Love, which was really cool. Worth the time and money. Huh. He's got like a tear on his leg. I don't know if that's supposed to be flesh. I would imagine it's showing through there. I probably should have painted that. There's something weird going on here. I did a bad job. There's like spots of white on his leg. I would say that is flesh. At least I will assume it is. Before this paint dries, but it may be dry. No, it's not dry yet, but it's getting there. It starts to gel and it becomes worthless. Well, I will do it with this brush. We have mostly we liked the Palazzo, but we booked stuff at the Palazzo a couple of times and they kept sticking us in the Venetian, which is fine, but we weren't getting like accommodations and we were like stuck in really far away. Like that complex is massive. And so we had a lot of trucking. And this is when my mom could get around. But what happened was we were in the Venetian, the Palazzo, and the room was a mess, like a real problem. And I was downstairs hanging out with Scott, so I didn't know about it. When I got up there, they had the staff in there, and I think we ended up having to leave and went to another room. And then they sent us to the Venetian. I'm like, this ain't cool. They also accused us of making the mess, which was really ridiculous. Like, none of us drink. You guys did a bad job cleaning the place. So that was no fun. You've done all the Meow Wolf. Wow. I did Meow Wolf Omega Mart this last go as well. Yeah, our friend Christoph, who's been on the show a few times, did not go. He and his SDJ jury compatriots they went to Vegas for a little while and did some things like high tea and stuff, which sounds awesome. And then he didn't want to do Meow Wolf because he thought it was an escape room, and he's like, I'm just not good at those. I'm like, it's not an escape room. Wow, come on, Lens. So yeah, it's a bummer that he didn't go see that. Denver Meow was your least favorite, huh? We have one coming here in LA, but have you been to the one in Grapevine then, Cirque? In Texas? I mean, I don't know where they're all at. I know they're based someplace, but when they do these, they do a lot of local artists, I believe. And they also bring in people, but and they take a long time. Ours is, I don't know where. I can actually probably look it up here and see where they're bringing in. Here in Los Angeles. Los Angeles. Is it actually here? It has ratings, so it sounds like it's there. Wow. I should have asked Mike. He knows about this stuff. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, they're all different, right? So, oh wait, I see. Be the first to know about is planting our 6th permanent art exhibition in the sprawling and sunny embrace of Los Angeles. Okay, so it's not there yet, like I thought. I don't know why they're rating it. In 2026. There we go. Where's it going to be located? Center Drive. The Meadows. That sounds like right there near the airport. It absolutely is. Oh, where is it? I don't see the address though. I may be wrong. Okay, there it is. Is it in the mall? Can't be. That's south of the mall. Well, that's cool. It's going to be, oh, it's near the, maybe it's part of the Howard Hughes Center. It doesn't look like it. I like it says temporarily closed. It is not open yet. Interesting. Bella Lux Loft. Wow, it is right down there. We go by there all the time for the airport. You can kind of see it here. It's going to be in this space here, Playa. Very interesting. Well, that's smart, putting it by the airport. Holy cow. Is a little heavy on the fine arts, huh? Yeah, I don't really know. I've seen photos, but I don't really know how the whole system works. So I think I need to paint a little bit of gray on these, on the parts that were yellow here, because I'm afraid it'll make the red look weird. There is a Meow Wolf right by the, in Grapevine, which is right by the convention, you know, the town. I think that we're kind of in that town in, when we go BGG Con Spring. Yeah, I don't know if you can see this, but it does. To me, this is a little brown. It's okay, because you know it'll be fine underneath the red. You won't even see any of this. What did you think of the Omega Mart one? Our friend Jennifer loved it, and when we were going to go, I cannot remember when. It might have been just a couple years ago, but it didn't happen. I mean, I think the thorns are, gosh darn it, too many shiny things in the shot. I think the thorns tore his super suit. Oh, I keep forgetting it's not red for the suit. It is blue. Oops. More of a return to the Santa Fe one. Oh, so Santa Fe is where the original one's at? I've not been to any of them, so it would be cool. I want to go. Whoa. Oof, making a mess. They're actually an extremely steep secret passageway. You have to use a rope to traverse. Which one is this? Is that the one in Santa Fe? I know there's like places you have to sneak around and stuff. They didn't know about it. We told them, oh my gosh, you got to go. And we didn't really. It was only just that we'd heard about it. I put it dark there and it's not quite right. I don't know what I'm going to do there. I may just leave it, maybe put some highlights on it. Because he has like very dark shadows, because I think because of his controlled aspect here. Okay, I think I'm done. I got to call my mom soon. Oh my gosh, very soon. And then we have to have dinner. At Omega Mark, interesting, okay. Well, I wonder how I would do with the rope thing would be. I mean, I hurt my ankle last year, my heel. And I've been dealing with that still. And it's getting stronger, but good gosh, it's taken a long time. Anyway, let me cut back to me. And then let's see who we can raid. So if you guys are interested on Twitch, YouTube cannot do that, but we will raid somebody here. Maybe Bonds, if she's not too far into her stream, although oof, my ear. I really need to get it into my brain which is the right tab. Stream Manager is the tab. Yes, Cirque. Board at Home's been going for a little while. We'll raid them. I won't raid quite yet. What did you want to say, Cirque? Ouch. I definitely need to reduce the intensity of those shadows. He looks like he's got a 5 o'clock shadow. Maybe he does. Now I'm painting again. Check out Sinner's Shot and Almost My Max. Oh yeah, I've heard it's very good. It's in the theaters again. We had friends that went to see it. I've heard good things. I don't know if Nikki's... We already have cable. And it's been on HBO Max or whatever. But I don't know. Nikki might have watched it. I have not watched it, but I will check it out. Maybe. We'll see. I'm not really good about sitting down for movies, I'll tell you that. Wow, this is not going on. Anyway. Okay, well, let's... you guys, thanks for the chatter. Thanks so much, Circe, for the recommendations. I really want to do Mega Mart. So it's another thing I want to do in Vegas. Everybody take care. Have a great weekend. We will be back. I'll be back streaming Paint on Tuesday, and then we'll be back. We'll be doing a Halloween stream on the 30th, I believe, next Thursday. So you should join us if you can. And you guys have a great weekend and try to enjoy yourselves. I will do the same. Bye, everybody. Thanks, YouTubers, for being here. I hope you all have a great weekend. Enjoy yourselves, and thank you so much for chatting and everything. It was really wonderful.